Hey family, we know the season has been hard on multiple levels, so it's good to have fun sometimes. So Will, what is something that we're doing in the season that's just fun?
So before COVID, we started playing pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yes, but this season we have done it a lot more.
Here, coming at you.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez. Such a nerd. Just fun. It's a lot of our church family has been playing, and it's just a great way to get outside because there's courts outside, and it's an indoor sport too. But play outside and just have fun and win, be competitive. It's good. It's good for the soul.
It is good for the soul. Good marriage counseling too, because when you get mad at each other while you're playing, you got to work through that. Not that ever happens to us.
Just a few times.
And thank you, City of Cleveland, for building the Tinsley courts. It's awesome. So, we appreciate that. Anyway, so if you don't play pickleball, is it still the fastest growing sport in the nation? At one point it was.
Yeah, it was. Well, I would say it still is, but I'm not sure.
We're guessing. You can fact check us on Google. But anyway, pickleball is fun.
Look it up.
So today what we wanted to do is just simply talk about the gospel and a challenge that has come out of our current series, which is just to write the gospel, which is the story of Jesus crucified and resurrected, in our own words. And so for somebody that's watching that doesn't follow Jesus, like, why would it be beneficial for them to write down the gospel?
I think in anything, when you're learning or when you're, I'm just in school memorizing things, I would write things down. I think writing something helps you process it more. So to write the accounts of what Jesus did, dying on the cross and rising again, it helps you to put it in your own words, and then from that you might find questions that maybe you have
really good.
From it. So I just think it helps you process a little bit more the story and put it in your words, where there's might be some elements that you might not understand that you're reading in one of the accounts, but that's one way I think that it can help.
I think that's really good, and I think to kind of build on that, it really provides clarity. Clarity of what you're hopefully embracing, or clarity of what you're rejecting. It just gives you that clarity to know what to do. So I really like that. And if you're wondering, okay, well, where do I find the gospel accounts? Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, read basically the end of the books. 1 Corinthians 15, Romans, about chapter 3 through 8. If you're confused in Romans, welcome to the club. Everyone that reads Romans is confused at some point, but it's so good. And you're going to get Jesus crucified and resurrected. And at our community group, you'd really challenged our community group to write that and then to also share that. And it was really cool to hear, like, you guys share it. I loved Cody Disney. He kind of did it a little bit more allegorical and talked about a king, and I was like, that is so awesome. Right. So I personally just loved hearing, like, other people share, like, how they wrote the gospel in their own words. So do you just want to read yours?
Sure, I'll read mine. At first I was a little intimidated to read mine, especially in community group, but it is just how I processed and how I viewed, and so I think that's the key too, is don't feel any pressure. It's I think it's a really neat thing once you get it on paper to kind of see. Definitely. So what I said was, Jesus came as an ordinary man. He was humble, caring, compassionate, and he loved people. He went through so much mockery, shame from others, people being angry at him, questioning his leadership, but he knew his purpose, and that was to show the world that he loved us. He was put on a cross, the most horrible death, but still looked over at the people watching and said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know. Wow, he did this for me. He came to change the world, not maybe how I think or how we imagined that he would do it, but he did it in a way that we would see his heart and without a doubt know that he loved us. So I will follow him. Not only did he die for us to show us love, but he did the impossible. He rose from the dead 3 days later. No one believed this would happen, but by doing this, he showed the world his power. No death, no rival could hold him down. He has the power to change lives, and he does change lives, and I want him to keep changing mine.
Yes. Oh, fires me up. You know, and I think for those of us who follow Jesus, like hearing the gospel should fire us up. We never grow past it.
Right.
So,
yeah. And just to say, like, when I was writing this, I had challenged our group, like you mentioned, and it had taken me a little bit through the week to do it. And the day that I decided, I felt like the Lord was saying, you need to do this. I was struggling that day. And we talked a little bit about struggle well. Mm-hmm. And one of my ways to struggle well is just get in the Word. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like in my time in the Word, God said, write the gospel. And it was really beneficial for me because it helped me refocus. And I think that's why, like, looking back and seeing what I wrote, I focused on Jesus's purpose. And so for me in that day when I was struggling, I was being reminded of what my purpose was.
That's good.
So I think that was really good. And then realizing, like, his power. Mm-hmm. His power can overcome some of the things, you know, that I might have been struggling with. So it was interesting to kind of look back and see the words and the way that I chose to tell it based on what I was feeling. You know, I mean, the gospel is the gospel, but just the way that, you know,
that it spoke to you that day.
Yeah.
Because the gospel has implications on our everyday life.
It does.
Like, it's not this far off thing that's irrelevant. It's extremely relevant to exactly what we're going through.
Right. So, like, Jesus knew his purpose, and that's what led him to the cross. And, like, despite everything, whether, you know, the disciples were asking him not to do this, or confused as why he was, you know, saying this was going to happen, he was going to be put to death, and then seeing, you know, just his mother crying, you know, all those things, he still had in his head, this is my purpose. He even asked God to not be done, for his will to be done. You know, so I mean,
if there's any other way,
he was still wrestling, but he knew his purpose. And so, even helped me, even in the struggle of whatever might be going on, knowing our purpose here on earth is to point people to Jesus, so it affects our daily life.
Yes.
You know, so I think that it was really good for me, basically. So I challenge you to do it. But so that was mine. How about you?
I love it. Okay, so and for me, I read through Mark and just took a couple days and read through Mark chapter 14 through 16 over 2 days. And the first day, I just kind of wrote some words to describe the gospel, did that again, and then used that to write. That was just my process.
Cool.
And so here's what I wrote. God didn't wait on us to find a way to him. God came to us. God in a body, his name is Jesus. In all the ways I fell, Jesus excelled. In the face of our cat. Sorry, it's our neighbor's cat comes to see us sometimes. That's awesome.
That scared me. It's a black cat. So
she may be on...
She's silently walking.
That is awesome. She's walking by. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm going to start over. So, I love it. God didn't wait on us to find a way to him. God came to us. God in a body, his name is Jesus. In all the ways I fell, Jesus excelled. In the face of mockery, betrayal, and the leader he chose basically quitting the team, Jesus responded with gritty, determined, selfless love. Injustice played a role in his death that satisfied the justice of God. The innocent for the guilty. All are included, as Black Simon provides clear evidence. His courage led Joseph and Nicodemus to risk their reputations and livelihood. When Jesus died, hope died with him. Nobody expected a resurrection. The impossible occurred because that's what God does. The light broke through the most intense darkness. As Jesus stepped out of the grave, light and life won, hope restored. As he ascended to his rightful place on the highest throne, Jesus gave us his spirit, his resurrection power flowing through us. Bottom line, the thesis, Jesus changes everything. So, yeah, and I think too, you don't have to clap. I'm just weird and clap sometimes. But I think it was so good to do this. And also I think in this season of just listening and learning, I've learned a lot about the cross from just reading and listening to how the Black church historically has processed the cross and related to the cross. And so even my comment, if you heard it, maybe like, who's Black Simon? That's a phrase the Black church used to talk about Simon from Cyrene, who carried Jesus' cross. And so just trying to like learn and grow, and even my understanding of the cross from other people. So, man, the gospel is enough. So, anything you want to add?
I think just challenging you to do it.
Nike, just do it.
Just do it and share. I think that was, it was good to even process with you and just share in our community group. I think it it takes it that step further. If you're not comfortable with it, that's okay. Writing it is good. But then, if you felt comfortable sharing it in some way, I think is good.
Yeah.
Because that's the point, is for us to share the gospel. And so when we write it too in our own words, we become more comfortable with sharing it. I think, it's not just, we kind of talked about this earlier, but it's not just something like
a canned response.
Yes, it's now something that we know internally.
It's good.
And so we can feel more comfortable, feel confident in knowing it. So
I love it.
Jesus does change.
Yes.
He changes every aspect of that,
Yes, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You said it so well, so I have nothing to add. So, in summary, play pickleball, write the gospel.
Yeah, let us know if you do both. No.
Hope you guys enjoyed today. Love you all. See you soon.
Bye.